Well, why don't we jump into the show proper by talking about a little news before we start hearing all about the PSVR 2. A couple weeks ago, Suicide Squad, we got a 15-minute deep dive into this game that is being made by Rocksteady, long celebrated developer behind the Arkham series. And there are very, very reputable rumors that that game is being delayed and maybe to next year. So I'm pulling from Tom Ivan at VGC. Tom writes, Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League's anticipated delay could be bigger than previously claimed. On Thursday, a Bloomberg source claimed Warner has decided to push the title from its previously announced May release date into the second half of 2023. Following the report, which Warner has yet to officially comment on, Giant Bomb reporter Jeff Grubb, aka Jeffy Grubb, said a reliable source had told him that Rocksteady's game may not arrive until next year. Jeff says, I don't want to cause a panic or anything, but I've heard it's not even coming this year. I'm hearing 2024. Earlier this evening, I heard they're like, this is a delay-ass delay. This is a bigger delay than is even being put out there. We'll see, he added. That stuff is hard to nail down for sure. I'll say that this source has always been a very good one. It was originally planned to release last year, and then last May, it was pushed back into this spring, and in December, it was announced to be coming May 26th, and now there is no new release date. Gentlemen, what is happening to this game?
Okay, so I'll just jump right in and tell you exactly where my headspace is. The first thing is like, we need more time to polish the game. That's bullshit. This game is polished. This game looks, gameplay wise, might not look like what people want, but you can't say this game does not look polished.
Yes, I agree.
What you can say is that this game just looks exactly like Avengers. And this brought up like a huge moment for me where I was like, we've seen a bunch of games be canceled this year, games that have been out for the last few years. All of them are live service games.
Right.
When you look, especially from WB's eyes, right? They just had, and whether or not you like it or you don't like it, Hogwarts Legacy has sold fucking gangbusters.
Yeah.
As of right now, like, and this is like the info we have is like, I think 2 weeks old at this point, has already surpassed 12 million copies.
I'm going to be dead ass wrong on our bet that we.
It is outpaced Elden Ring, guys.
That's amazing. Yeah. That makes me happy. I had no idea. That's thrilling. That's great news.
So my thing is, we see all these live service games being canceled. This game is a games as a service. This is a Marvel's Avenger, just DC, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think WB, when the fan backlash came through and was like, we don't want a game like this, that they are taking this shit back to the drawing board and they are nerfing shit. I don't foresee this game coming until next year.
I wonder, because like if it's being pushed to next year, because like you can only change so much, right? If it's coming out within the next, let's say 12 to 15 months.
Yeah.
So because my biggest thing, like I will say that 15-minute deep dive got me the most interested in this game that I had been to date, because I was very cold on it when it was first revealed. Like, I don't want to be the Suicide Squad. I want to be fucking the Justice League. If I'm going to be a DC character, I want to be the Justice League personally. And then we saw that first like cinematic trailer and I was like, not my vibe. Love Rocksteady. I'll probably try it, but I'm not excited for this game. Mm-hmm. It does, like, to me, it looked lowercase f fun. And I make the distinction because like there's the games as a service aspect to it, but also more so my biggest qualm with what I saw was you're playing as Captain Boomerang, you're playing as King Shark, and all of them have guns, which are things that those characters don't usually use. So I wonder if what they're changing is the gunplay aspect of it and introducing mechanics that make sense for the characters. It makes sense for Harley Quinn to use a gun. It makes sense for Deadshot to use a gun. It doesn't make sense for Captain Boomerang to use a gun. So like, I wonder if they're going to introduce like a set of boomerangs that you use for him, because you can't like totally change the gameplay or like, so yeah, I don't know. I'm so interested to see what this delay means, but Gray, I'm interested. Is this a game that you've been following along much with?
You say you can't change the gameplay. Why not? Maybe that, I'm with Cayman. Maybe that's exactly what they're changing. Maybe they're going way, way back. Like to your point, it's not just machine guns, but they can also fly, basically, right? I mean, they can jump like crazy. Like, it sort of it resembles some of the Batman stuff, but Batman couldn't do all this. It looks like superheroes. And when it's a guy with a shark head, look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. To be fair, I grew up kind of reading Marvel and Image comics way more than DC, but we all fell in love with the Batman series. It feels a little too bit. I'll keep this simple. Whenever there's a game that's delayed now, I kind of appreciate that because it means they're trying to do something on purpose. And
sure.
We'll get to that with the PSVR title in a minute. It's releasing this week that was supposed to be a launch title, but like No Man's Sky, man, that was a blemish because of how it released when it was released, in spite of what they did later, right?
Sure.
Like that they never really fully recovered from. And if they're doing this for a big, like blockbuster IP like Suicide Squad, part of me is like super optimistic about it, right? I'd rather see a game release that's like you mentioned Hogwarts. The one thing you haven't heard of Hogwarts is like it's falling apart. Like I keep falling off my broom and the game like I haven't heard of fidelity issues like that.
Yeah.
If they can fix it and get the gameplay right too, I don't care how long it takes. I really don't.
To your point about Hogwarts, that was a game that was delayed several times. And the polish, I mean, I haven't played it yet, but like it seems like the polish is there. So like I totally agree with you. Like a delay can only be a good thing for this game. I'm so curious to see what that means because so often it seems like a game is delayed not because of feedback externally. It's from feedback internally. It's from like, hey, conversations that we've not been a part of as the consumer. It's just that like, hey, we're not ready. Like we need more time. But this one, they are specifically saying, you didn't like what you saw, so we'll be back. It's like, which is an exciting thing. Like they're listening to the consumer, but yeah, I'm super interested to see what this can mean for this.
And I think the other thing too, and something we don't need to leave out of this conversation is Crystal Dynamics. I mean, you like the what they're really known for is Tomb Raider, and they took Tomb Raider, which was a series that was floundering at the time. I don't know if a lot of people remember that, but like Tomb Raider was dead. Like people didn't want to play Tomb Raider anymore. And then they put out 3 stellar games, right? And then the next game is Marvel's Avengers. And that game, I love the story of it, but that game sucked.
It was not.
I mean, everyone agrees. Like there's no one out there's like, Cayman, you're wrong. Like everyone agrees that the story was really cool. And then the actual game itself sucked. So the thing is like you have Rocksteady, who's just released banger after banger, and now they're at the point now where they have their own. And now it's like, do we do what Crystal Dynamics did, and do we release a game that could potentially tank us? Sure. Because what is Crystal Dynamics doing right now?
Yeah, and also Rocksteady is owned by Warner Brothers. That's why they're doing a DC based game, and we all know the state of Warner Brothers lately.
Just like Prince.
But yeah, but also if you think about it too, it's like, okay, well, we just had an absolutely banger of a release with Hogwarts Legacy, and now we have capital in our that we can essentially use. Like we can delay this game. It'll be okay. Also, we really don't need to have another Gotham Knights situation, which like I played Gotham Knights. I enjoyed what I played of it. There were issues I started to see later in the game where I was like, okay, I can definitely now start to see where people are having a lot of hangups here. It is redundant. The traversal is not very fun, but like there's good parts of that game. And it's like, we can't have that again. And so we now see that, and guess what? Hogwarts Legacy, Gotham Knights was somewhat like a games as a service too.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, okay, well, we now know people don't really care. It seems like the gamers themselves are like, yeah, okay, we've kind of passed this. We will always have our Fortnite. We will always have our Apex Legends. We'll always have our Call of Duty. But like, we want like single player games. We want games that like function when you're just one player.
Yeah.
And
that was a big thing with the latest info about it was even in single player, it's an online like you have to be online to play the game, which I bet that's something that they'll change. Yeah. Because and to your point too, Cayman, like that we can't have another Gotham Knights. I guarantee you, we don't know what the budget is for Suicide Squad, but I guarantee you the budget for Suicide Squad is so much bigger than the budget for Gotham Knights. You can just tell from like the graphical fidelity of the game. Like it's probably a game that they've put millions of more dollars into. So
Oh yeah.
I bet the stakes are higher to actually sell the game, because the more money you put in, the more you expect to make out of it. So interesting to see. We'll definitely keep tabs on this one as we get more info. But what an interesting thing.
Why couldn't you, to your point, Cayman, just make a game about Robin or Harley Quinn or even the shark guy? I'm sorry, I can't remember his name.
King
why
Shark.
I like
Shark,
Shark
of course.
So you were
I do too.
shockingly close by guessing
Shark
Shark
Guy,
Guy
Lava Woman.
to King Shark.
We have
You know, to
Robert
be fair,
Rodriguez's-
I call Cayman King Shark in bed, so sometimes I get a little confused about where
Yeah.
else to use the term. But
When you have a fin the size of his and those teeth, I mean, come on.
hey, look, if you made a video game about him by Rocksteady and it was just about him and followed, like, I'd pay more
Yeah.
attention. I
That
don't
would
know.
be
It feels like they're trying too hard, maybe. I don't know. And especially after Gotham Knights, that's where I like where you brought that up, Cayman. Like, it felt like a misstep more than like a total accident or mistake, the way some people portrayed it to be. It wasn't a disaster, right? But
Yeah.
and I don't think this is going to be a disaster either. But why are there four? Is it four different characters that all kind of have some crazy abilities rather than something that's more focused?
You get
Like that's
four
what Batman
characters.
was. It was real personal.
Yeah.
4 characters at launch, and then they will be dropping individual characters after. And this sounds just like fucking Marvel's Avengers.
It sure does. Who are they going to fucking drop? Polka Dot Man? Like, that's why.
That'd be dope as
that's
shit.
why I
Well,
don't-
if they did it right.
Yeah, whatever.
Solomon
Something.
Grundy.
Condiment King.
Oh God. Uh,
Right?